Hey everyone, it's the dude Starite, and I am so freaking excited to finally record this video for you guys because, listen, you looked at the thumbnail and you've read the title. You already know that I've had the ethereal honor of watching Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in theaters, and in this movie, it's my personal favorite movie of all time now. There's no other movie that can top it unless Sonic 4 comes out and, you know, it ends up doing something greater. Like, dude, it's just, I'm hyped. I'm hyped. And, you know, I want to drop my genuine review on this movie. And, you know, I want to make it clear. I am no movie critic, and I'm nowhere near as, you know, thorough and as, you know, and but I don't know, not to put myself down, but no one reviews a movie better than my GOAT 3C Films. Listen, 3C Films, I hope you see this video. By the grace of God, I hope you just come across this video and just, I want you to know that I watch your videos, and, you know, I see you on TikTok all the time, and I just love your reviews, and I love that you're a fellow Sonic fan just like myself. I hope you're doing well in life, and Merry Christmas. Anyway, yeah, I just want to drop my genuine review on this movie and tell you what I loved about this movie, the low points of this movie, and, you know, how much I love the characters, how well things were adapted and all that jazz. But, you know, yeah, I'm gonna organize this video in parts, and you'll know exactly which part you'll need to go to hear my opinion on a specific thing you want to hear about. The first thing I want to talk about when it comes to what makes this film so peak is the overall story and how well it adapted Sonic Adventure 2 from 2001. As many of us Sonic fans know, Sonic Adventure 2's general story was it was one of the more serious Sonic games. Its story was it was sad but action driven at the same time. It was just a perfect mix. Just a really amazing game, and the movie adapted it very well. The movie cut out not a lot of big things, but certain aspects that came from the games that didn't fit the overall scope of what the movie's built up so far. For example, there is no Rouge the Bat, there is no Bio-Lizard, there is no Space Colony Arc, and, you know, that's okay with me. The source material was so good that they still ended up making a great film out of what they worked with, and amazing. I can't complain about it. They've done such a great job. Like, hats off to them. Genuinely, hats off to them for doing such an amazing job adapting the story. And you know, they even changed the overall fate of Maria Robotnik. She, you know, in the game, she got she got the pop. But in the movie, you know, a Chaos Energy capsule blew up, and, you know, the explosion killed, you know, her in the process. I thought that was a really good change. The things they changed in this movie, they said, let's not make this movie unidentifiable from the source material. You know, like, that is a 10 out of 10 story adaptation. Given what the movies have gotten us so far, 10 out of 10 story adaptation. And much like Sonic Adventure 2, this film really struck me in the heart. I had my eyes tearing up in the freaking theater, and they just knew exactly how to pull the heartstrings of Sonic fans, and, you know, the newer Sonic fans, and just people who didn't know Sonic at all, simultaneously. And dude, Shadow's story, Sonic's moments with Tom and his family, Sonic's friends, the story is not something I can complain about. If there's any weak point in the movie, the story isn't one of those weak points. It just isn't. But anyway, I'm gonna, you know, I know I'm not being as, you know, thorough when it comes to the story, telling you exactly what the story's about, you know, considering that if you're watching this video, you've seen the film, you know, so I'm not going to just reiterate what you've clearly just watched. I'm going to tell you how I feel about it and what makes it so great. So, you know, with that being said, if you want to hear more of what I think about the story points and how they handle the characters, we're going to get to that right now, actually. I just want to tackle the Robotniks first, because these guys are literally what holds the story together, and they just are amazing. First off, I want to start off with Gerald Robotnik, the creator of Shadow in the games, but he's more so of the director overseeing the experiments of Shadow in the movie. Gerald Robotnik like I said, he's one of the things holding the story together in this movie, and he was just they did my boy justice. Gerald, man, I think Gerald was interesting because in the games he died so much earlier in the series as a whole. You know, Gerald in the games was driven by hatred because of what Gunn did to him and how they stole all of his research, killed his granddaughter, and literally ruined his life as a whole. Like, you see, the government in the games were so corrupt at the time that when they asked Gerald to do very heinous things like discover human immortality or, you know, create super weapons, it was against what Gerald wanted for humanity. So when Gerald denied these freaking requests, the Gunn literally infiltrated his space colony arc where he was conducting all of his research and killed everyone on board so that the secrets of Project Shadow wouldn't get out to the general public, including Maria Robotnik. And reasonably so. I'm not saying he's right for what he was gonna do. I'm just saying I can't blame him. He went insane and recorded voice logs talking about how bad he was, you know, how bad he was going mentally after the loss of his daughter, and how all of his work has been for nothing. Because part of the reason why he created Project Shadow was because he wanted not to like give the government weapons. He wanted to create a cure for his granddaughter's disease. And now that his daughter is dead, what purpose does his research have other than benefiting humanity? Which is something he didn't have in mind at the time. They just killed his granddaughter. The movies did this well, and they translated it very well into live action. Jim Carrey needs an Oscar for how he portrayed Gerald Robotnik. And you see, much like the games where Mike Pollock's excellent role as Eggman has transitioned into playing Gerald Robotnik much later in, you know, Sonic X Shadow Generations. Actually, I think he played him in Sonic the Hedgehog as well, but either way, I love how the movies followed this pattern by having Jim Carrey play Eggman and Gerald at the same time. I thought that was amazing. So, you know, in the movie, Gerald Robotnik is filled by this same exact hatred for, you know, humanity as a whole for what they took from him. Gunn specifically. You know, Gunn in the movies also wanted to take Shadow away and stop Gerald's research, and in the process they killed Gerald's granddaughter. But in the movie though, instead of executing him on the spot, they actually incarcerated him for, I think, well over 50 years. And in exchange for his freedom, he offers the Eclipse Cannon to them, if I'm not mistaken. In the movie, he was able to live over 50 years after Project Shadow, and I was confused about this at first. When the movie was first introduced and Gerald Robotnik was confirmed to be a character in the movie, I was afraid at first because I was thinking, if Gerald was old when he was creating Shadow, you know, when he was, you know, experimenting with Shadow in the movie, how is he still alive? Like, he has to be well over 100 years old, and I was afraid they were gonna do some time travel stuff. I thought maybe Eggman went to the past and got his grandfather and brought him back to the present or something like that. And I was like, if they're doing time travel this early, listen, I am a Silver fan. Look at this, look around, read the room. I am a Silver fan. And I was really scared that they were gonna introduce him a little too soon. And just, oh my goodness, man. Oh man, I was so scared. I was like, no. You know, Burleezy, no. That's literally how I was, man. I was like, I love Silver, but I know a good story when I see one, and introducing Silver that early was not gonna make a good story. So anyway, like I said, what actually happened was, not a lot of people know this, but Jeff Fowler, the director of the films, said that the reason why Gerald was able to still live and stay in good shape, and he'd do all that dancing and stuff, how active he was during the movie, the reason why we're seeing that is because if you noticed in the movie, Gerald took one of Shadow's quills when he was incarcerated, and apparently Gerald was licking this quill every now and then, and the quill's chaos energy, and it gave his body the sustenance it needed to not regress as much as a normal person's body would at the age of 100. So yeah, this guy was able to stay in pretty good shape because of the chaos energy embedded into his body from licking that quill from literally his entire incarceration. So if you guys don't know that, now you know. But yeah, what makes Gerald so interesting to me in the movie is that he's like a huge what if story. What if Gerald lived? What if Gerald wasn't executed after Project Shadow was shut down? What if Gerald wasn't executed? And then, like, listen, I'm gonna tell you this. This is how well they adapted him. I can tell you 100% what Gerald was gonna do in the movie, wipe literally the entire planet, killing so many people with the Eclipse Cannon. If they didn't execute him that quick in the games, if they didn't execute Gerald in the games that fast, I promise you, Gerald would have ended up doing the exact same thing. Gerald would have ended up doing the exact same thing. And I love, and listen, we're gonna talk about Eggman next, because Eggman, you see, now Gerald, I told you why Gerald was great, but let me tell you why Eggman is great. The reason why Eggman is so great in this movie is because they talked about why he is as morbid as he is, and how much he grew up without a family. And, you know, he even questioned why Gerald was gone for so long. And Gerald was like, listen, being locked up for well over 50 years doesn't exactly make it easy to send a Christmas card. You know, and that was so good, because Eggman in the games, he suffers from, as confirmed in Frontiers, he suffers from negligence from his family because of how much they appreciate Maria. He said, you know what, actually, roll the clip, Starry Tay.
I never really knew my cousin Maria. Everyone spoke of her like she was very special. All that love for someone who was gone when I was right there.
See, Eggman, even years later, Eggman knew that even though Maria was clearly not there and she was on the space colony Ark being treated for her disease, everyone still never gave Eggman, you know, Ivo, the attention that he desired. And the movie explores this in a much different way, but you can see the parallels they made, and you can tell they took notes. Robotnik getting fat was definitely something I was waiting for, and even Jim Carrey said the same exact thing. He said, I've been lobbying for the fat Eggman, and the movie was doing something very nice where they were developing Eggman as the movies went forward. Eggman had this sleek look to him in the first film, and then in the second film he looked more deranged, but he was looking more accurate because he was going insane on the Mushroom Planet. And then the third film was like, all right, now we can go full throttle with this and give him the suit, give him everything, the game accurate suit. Mwah! Perfect. Chef's kiss. They did a good job. I just can't, I can't stress it enough. They did a good job adapting Eggman as a whole. Like, this is, Sonic 3 is the peak of a lot of things introduced in the movie franchise. But most of all, Eggman is at his peak in this movie. Jim Carrey, like I said, Jim Carrey, give him that Oscar. Give him the freaking Oscar. Give it to him right now. You know what? Matter of fact, I'll steal the Oscar, then send it off to Jim Carrey. And myself, personally. And, dude, see, like I said, Eggman in the games was like, he was very, he actually, this is different because in the movie, Eggman never knew Gerald growing up. He never knew Gerald. He was orphaned and he never knew his grandfather. So he kind of grew up alone for the most part. But in the games, he idolized Gerald in a way. He grew up following his research, and he, you know, because Gerald in the games, he actually had two sons. One who was into archaeology, and the other son was into robotics. It's obvious that Ivo is the son of one of Gerald's children who was into robotics. And so yeah, I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really, really, really freaking cool how the parallels are there. But yeah, I just love how they're not making Eggman's past so vague in recent installments of the franchise. But yeah, like I said, Eggman in the movie, he's so well done. He is so well done, and I really and I hope he isn't dead. If this is Jim Carrey's last outing as Eggman, I really think that this is a good send-off. He even pulled off his little, "I've come to make an announcement" at the end of the freaking film. You know, it was kind of like a heartfelt moment between him and Agent Stone, which I'm not complaining about. Eggman, like I said, Eggman, chef's kiss. I love that so much, and I hope we see more of him in Sonic 4 or Sonic 5. Jim Carrey, please come back as Eggman. If you're gonna retire, that's fine. You've given the character a perfect send-off, but if you're gonna come back, I hope so. I really, really, really hope so. Mike Pollock, bro, get a load of this guy. Get a load of this guy. Get a load of this. Anyway, let's move on to the other characters. Shadow the Hedgehog is the first character I want to go over because that's literally what this movie is low-key focusing on. Shadow, bro. Shadow was, listen, I love the things they changed about Shadow because they actually they took what they did. They took notes from the source material. It's just that they fleshed it out so much more. In the games, they fleshed out Shadow perfectly as well. But then the movie took notes from that and was like, you know what? Let's take this to the kitchen and cook a whole different meal. And they did. Shadow's design, his air shoes, his inhibitors, everything is so perfect. I just dude, I'm not even a Shadow. Listen, I am a firm believer that Shadow is literally the best character in the entire franchise. And listen, unless they flesh out Sonic a little more and give a little more attention to other characters in the franchise, I think as of right now, 2024, Shadow is literally the best character. If Shadow wasn't so important, if he wasn't so great as a character, they wouldn't give an entire year dedicated to him. The Fearless Year of Shadow was meant to emphasize how important he was and how much he held the series together. Shadow had such an impact that when he originally died in Sonic Adventure 2, they intended to kill off Shadow in that same game. But the fans loved him so much that they ended up bringing him back later in Sonic Heroes and then every other Sonic game afterwards. So, needless to say, them making Shadow good in this movie was mandatory. If they didn't make Shadow this great in the movie, we would be severely disappointed and the movie's story would be entirely weaker as a result. Shadow trying to bring out the hatred in Sonic, going like, you left your friends. Your friends were trying to stop you. You wanted to come and get your revenge on me for hurting, what's his name? Tom. Got. Oh man, that was heat. Oh my gosh, Shadow was so good in this movie. Oh man, Shadow. Yo, I just like Super Shadow's design was also very sleek. I loved it. The Chaos Emeralds, it just, the fight between him and Sonic was just so well choreographed. There was even that little reference with the Man of Steel and Injustice Superman's super move, and I gotta say they nailed it. It was all everyone's saying the same thing, Dragon Ball Z-esque fight, man. Oh man, they were fighting between continents and everything, just awesome. But yeah, like I said, Shadow's pain was so well displayed and it was so well portrayed by Keanu Reeves. Got it. Hats off to Keanu Reeves, man. He did a good job portraying Shadow's pain, how Shadow matured, and Shadow questioning, is this really what Maria would have wanted? This is exactly how the game played out. Wow, just like I said, 10 out of 10 adaptation. I tried to tell him. I tried to tell y'all, man. This movie did not miss with Shadow's character. And so yeah, that's all I have to say about the Ultimate Life Form. Oh, well, actually, I have one more thing. They did change his origin a little bit. Instead of him being completely created from scratch, with Black Doom's DNA, much like the games, he just comes crash landing on Earth, and he doesn't know where he comes from. And I think it's more alien-esque. He's more alien than artificial in this movie, and I gotta say, I kind of like it, because in the game, he's just half alien, half artificial. But, I'm assuming that he's hailing from the Black Comet in the movie. The Black, if some of you that probably don't know, the Black Comet is what holds the Black Arms race in Black Doom himself, the father of Shadow the Hedgehog, who offered his DNA to Gerald Robotnik to create the perfect soldier for him. But of course, Gerald Robotnik he wasn't going to follow through with that. He doesn't want to cause harm to humanity or contribute to its enslavement. But in the movies, though, they were just using Shadow as an energy source. So, there hardly is any there's hardly any signs of Black Doom, but we do know that he more than likely exists in the movie universe. So I hope whatever that solo Shadow project is going to be in 2025, 2026, I hope it's going to explain a little more about where Shadow comes from. But that's all I have to say about the Ultimate Life Form, the GOAT. That's all I have to say about him. Now, Sonic and his friends, they still are arguably the same as the previous movies, but I just want to focus on Sonic for a moment because Sonic, he's becoming the cocky Sonic that we all know and love. Sonic's rage in this movie, I knew Sonic was going to cause Sonic to mature in some way, given how much rage he brought out of him and how Sonic felt about Tom being hurt. And it was just, dude. And even that heartfelt moment where Sonic was trying to, comfort Tom, like, Tom, wake up! And then Shadow was like, oh, dang, this is exactly what I went through. It was just so, this movie, it's just so good! Peak! It's all right there! Like, jeez. Like, anyway, so anyway, Sonic's rage in this movie really reminded me of how Spider-Man felt, how Peter felt when his Uncle Ben got shot. That's what I really was thinking about. It was just such a nice touch to the movie. It just gave it a really serious tone that it needed, and it wasn't all, the movie wasn't all jokes. Even Jim Carrey's excellent comedy in this movie still managed to sell its very serious tone, and it didn't undermine any of the serious aspects that we got from Sonic Adventure 2. Yeah, Sonic's character, especially at the post-credit scene where, Amy, before Amy steps in, Metal Sonic gets the jump on him, and Metal Sonic's trying to shoot him and stuff like that. Sonic's like, if you're trying to take a shot at the fastest creature in the universe, you better not miss. Listen, take that line and put that in Jason Griffith and tell me that's not Game Sonic. Tell me that's not Game Sonic. I want you to tell me that's not Game Sonic. Because listen, like Jason Griffith would say something exactly like that. If you're gonna take a shot at the fastest creature in the universe, then you better not miss. That was a terrible impression, but you get my point. Sonic was so well done in this movie. I just really hope that he gets more cocky as the series progresses in the movies. And yeah, that's all I have to say about him. And Tails and Knuckles, they were great friends. And I really think that, you know, and someone made a meme about this. Someone said that when Sonic was like trying to take the Master Emerald, he was like, Knuckles, give me the emerald so I can get revenge for Tom. And Knuckles is like, I will not allow you to use the emerald for such purposes. And you know, when they were arguing, someone on TikTok made this joke and say, when Tails was just standing between them, it looked like a kid watching his parents argue right before their divorce. I thought that was hilarious, and I hope you guys did too. But anyway, Knuckles was also pretty cool in this movie. He really carried, especially when saving them in the gun headquarters in London. Very, very awesome. Yeah, Knuckles, Idris Elba loves Knuckles so much, he gets into character and he has the gloves on in the recording studio. He knows he's about to cook. I don't gotta worry about it, nothing. Knuckles, I hope that the season 2 of the Knuckles show isn't as bad as the first season. I still think the Knuckles show is buns. I'm pretty sure every other Sonic fan thinks the Knuckles show is buns. The Knuckles show didn't even get a laugh out of me. It was just that unfunny. The bad MCU humor actually infected the Sonic franchise for once, and that was the Knuckles show. That's why everyone hated it. It didn't, and that can be its own video, so I'm not gonna like get into too much, but yeah, I'm glad that Knuckles still strived as a character in this film. Tails, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, Colleen O'Shaughnessy got her role as Tails again, much like the games, and she did just as great. And Tails was very awesome. Tails also carried towards the end when Sonic was collapsing to the earth. I really like how the roles were switched in this movie, where in the games, when Shadow helped Sonic use Chaos Control and prevented the space colony Ark from crashing into the Earth, he overexerted himself and he lost his super form, and as a result, he collapsed and fell into orbit, and his fate was, left unknown. But in the movie, it was Sonic who overexerted himself when stopping the Eclipse Cannon from firing into the Earth. This man was literally about to fall into orbit, but Tails, my goat Tails, came in clutch and saved him. And then, when they were all falling to Earth, Knuckles came in clutch and saved everybody. It was like, dude, the cast of this movie was all doing their part. I gotta say, the most useless side of the side cast in terms of story was Agent Stone, but that does not make his character bad. Agent Stone's character was so good in this movie because it showed how much he meant to Robotnik. Even in Robotnik's last moments, Agent Stone really shined. So Lee Majdu, you didn't do bad. It's just that compared to the other characters, Agent Stone didn't do that much into the story. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about the characters there. Wait, did I forget anyone? Tom and Maddie, don't have much to say about them, but they were also great. I'm glad they dropped the whole dad shtick with Sonic. I really think that, Tom being a father figure, I'm open to it, but him being Sonic's father, no, we aren't doing that. Nope, red flag. Father figure, yes. Sonic's dad, no. I'm not okay with that. So yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about Tom, and Maddie was also pretty cool as well. The death stare Maddie gave Sonic and his friends when Tom was being carried to the hospital, she was like, if he dies, it's just you could just tell she was on edge. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the characters of this film. If you want to count Metal Sonic and Amy, I hope they're exploring more in the... Listen, I just want to... No, actually, let me say this for the end of the video. I just wanted to tell you guys how good the characters were and how much I love their adaptation. Bring my girl Rouge, bring Mommy Rouge into the movie. Don't worry, man. Don't worry, I'm just joking. But still, yeah, that's why I think the characters are so great. And now we're gonna get to the final part of this video. Now you're probably wondering, what are the low points of this movie? That's the thing. I don't think there are any low points. Now I know some people have different opinions and they think that there are some parts of this movie where jokes fell flat. The serious moments of this movie were undermined. And I don't think the same way. I think this movie did everything perfectly. I can't thinking about it. My mind is malfunctioning thinking about what this movie did wrong. Okay, well, if there is one gripe I have, it's the fact that the Master Emerald is given to Wade Whipple. I hate that the Knuckles show bled into this movie a little bit. And, you know, the Master Emerald, I think it's because of how human-centered the Sonic movies are so far. Because I know they're going to get into the more distant worlds and the otherworldly side of Sonic in Sonic 4 and maybe Sonic 5 in every movie after 3. Which is why I'm like, if this is where they're going to keep the Master Emerald until things get more otherworldly, where the Master Emerald is going to be stored somewhere actually safe and distant, then I'm okay with Wade Whipple being the one who carries the Master Emerald, and that's it. But considering how much I hate the Knuckles show, I got scared when I saw Wade Whipple on screen in the movies. So yeah, that's my only gripe. But other than that, I loved everything in this film. There is no low point for me. I love the fight between Sonic and Shadow. Listen. I was tweaking out in that theater when they adapted that freaking dap up from the games. You know, at the end of the final hazard fight where Sonic and Shadow dap each other up, the movie did the same thing, but it was reversed. They did it at the start, bro. I love that. I was losing it. I was freaking losing it. The most legendary dap up in history. The greatest dap up in all of gaming on the big screen. This 2024 was one heck of a year. 2024 was one heck of a freaking year. But yeah, that's how I feel, and I really think, you know, the fight scenes in this movie were also done well. The action, Sonic, Shadow, you know, Knuckles, Tails, everything was so good. What can I say? What can I freaking say? What else can I say about this film that was so freaking great? Live and Learn also had my blood pumping. Dude, I get exhausted talking about this movie. I get exhausted talking about it. And it's because there's so many great things about this movie that I love that my body is literally on the brink of exhaustion because of how much adrenaline this movie pumped me with. And even still, just by talking about it. So, there's one more thing I want to talk about this movie, the post-credit scenes. Firstly, Shadow being alive is funny to me because it's like, wow, okay, so Shadow safely crash landed on Earth, and unlike the games where, you know, Shadow crashing on Earth resulted in him losing his memory and, you know, getting a huge dose of amnesia. But in the movie, it's clear that Shadow is fine, and he's definitely going to retain his memories. He's going to keep his memories as the series goes forward. And I really think that's cool. You see, remember when I said the movie cuts out things that don't fit the exact scope of what the movies are doing so far? I really think that, considering how the franchise is moving in the movies, I don't think they should do the whole amnesia arc with Shadow. You know, the games did it, and that's the games thing, and they did it well. Not everything can translate into the movies, and I think that's one of them. So yeah, that was great. And I want to talk about the bigger post-credit scene. Amy and Metal Sonic. So Metal Sonic is like a really great antagonist, and I really think that Metal Sonic in the post-credit scene, I really hope they don't just make Metal Sonic an expendable army. I hope they actually differentiate Metal Sonic from Metal Sonics, because, you know, in the games, Metal Sonic was always Metal Sonic, and there are other mechanized versions of Sonic, but Metal Sonic is the Metal Sonic. He's the GOAT. So, you know, I hope the movies keep Metal Sonic, but they also have the Metal Sonic army. And it's clear that, considering that Amy saved Sonic from, you know, Metal Sonic in this movie, I really think that they're gonna go a Sonic CD route, where instead of, you know, Metal Sonic kidnapping Amy saves Sonic this time around, and Amy's more like a warrior, much like her Boom counterpart from, you know, the terrible Sonic Boom series. Sonic CD is literally my favorite classic Sonic game, so seeing how they'll adapt the story and the fact that Sonic CD mainly consists of time travel, I'm afraid at the end of Sonic... Now, listen, I don't even think Silver should even show up in Sonic 4. Don't let Silver come in Sonic 4. Post-credits, yes, because whatever time travel adventure they're gonna have in this Sonic CD-inspired story, I can just know for a fact whatever they do in this movie is gonna have consequences in the future, thus prompting Silver's premiere in the post-credit scene of Sonic 4. In Sonic 4. So, yeah. Now you guys know where I think Silver should appear. Sonic 5, yes. Sonic 5, sure. If Silver doesn't even appear in that movie, I'm not surprised. So yeah, considering that they're obviously going to go in the time travel route, You know, actually, I wanted to notice that. I wanted to point something out. The way Metal Sonic appeared in Sonic 3's post-credit scene was literally almost identical to how Terminator traveled back in time in the first Terminator film, where he was like butt booty naked, and he was like, you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah. Sonic 5, silver for Sonic 5 is what I'm gonna pitch for. Sonic 4, no. Sonic 4, no. But yeah, that's. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's my, oh yeah, I wanted to give you guys my rating on this movie. I just want to give it a good, should I give it a 9.5 or a 10 out of 10? I'll give it a 9.5. I'll give it a 9.5 only because, screw it, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Oh, you know what? Also, guys, I wanted to show you, you know, before I end this video, I just wanted to, I want to show you guys my, before my reaction before watching the film and my reaction after watching the film. So I'll show you guys that right here. Take a look. Hey guys, Tay here. Okay, so this is a unique video because I really wanted to capture this moment for myself and for you guys. So basically today I'm at the theater and I'm going to go watch Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and I already know it's going to be a lethal experience, so I'll tell you guys how it goes by the end of this video, and hopefully I get blown away. Hopefully I don't pass out in the theater like that other guy, but yeah, so I'll tell y'all how it goes. God bless you. Guys, I just experienced the best film I've ever seen. I like, no one's in the freaking theater. It's just me. I stuck around for the second post-credit scene, and I just gotta say, the GOAT is alive. Holy frick. Anyway, I'll record more when I get home, but that was peak, absolute peak. I'll talk about when I get home, guys. Okay. I'll see you in a bit. Y'all already know I gotta hit this pose. You already know I gotta hit this pose after seeing that movie. Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. Yeah, man, I hit that pose, man. I had to say it. Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. Peak cinema. That movie was perfect. So yeah, 10 out of 10 movie, in my opinion. I can't say it disappointed me in any way, shape, or form. And I hope Sonic 3 does the exact same thing. So yeah, you guys keep living and learning, doing your thing. And you know what, guys? You want to know what I learned? I think maybe perhaps the ultimate life form was the friends we made along the way. That's a knee slapper right there. Anyway, I'll see you guys in another video. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone under the sun. And I'll see you guys in another video. Please stay safe. Enjoy your presents. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your company. Enjoy your friends and companions. And please, take care of yourselves. As always.